I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Gotta relax.
This is Earth Radio. And now here's human music.
Human music. I like it. like it. Hello, friends. It's a tired one today, so we're chilling. We're vibing. What's the vibe at? The vibe's probably pretty low at the moment. Let's go with 45. We'll start there. Ooh! It's been a week, but school has finished, which is exciting.
For the week.
For the term.
Oh, for the term.
Well, for me anyway.
I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Is this the last week of school?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's exciting.
Yeah. There's Lizzie Bell in the
Sorry
background.
to interrupt your stream. I had no idea because I don't have children.
Hey. Yeah, no. School holidays now.
Oh, best.
Yeah. So that's a nice. But we've just been like cleaning and preparing things, and working, and so we're all a bit tired today. I believe Cog is streaming at some point. He's going to be doing some art stuff over on his channel, so let's shout out Cognitive Bard. There we go, that worked. So feel free to go and check his stuff out as well, if you're keen. We're just going to be doing some random things today. At some point, we're going to go through the Ship of Theseus discussion, which will be fun. But in the meantime, we've just been working on these art cards. I've got a bunch of images that still need to be transferred over to that, so that'll be some simple admin-y style stuff, and then we've got these images to be colorized. So I will be digitally coloring these over the course of tonight, hopefully. So we'll see how we go. You were, but you realized you need to get yourself some basic blueprints for your art. So you're just gonna host me and listen to me talk shit. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, go and follow Cog anyway. Give him some love. If you're watching this on the VOD. Cool dude, does arty things and plays a lot of Sea of Thieves and GTA. What else you do? Very into Diablo. Is a bard. Does lots of storytelling. Yeah. Good times. Anyway, so that's sort of on today's agenda for the stream. You can tell I'm tired. Just taking some Panadol because I've got a bit of a headache. Oh, Geodude, yes. Let's catch me a Geodude. If you want to play the Pokemon game in the stream, there's some information about it down the bottom. I don't own that ball. Okay. Great ball. And then I'm going to have to go and buy a bunch on my own stream. So bear with me while I go and do that, because that's clearly more important than actually doing the streamy thing. And we'll play some music while we're here. We're using a new playlist from Epidemic Sounds. So let me know if it's loud enough, too loud. Might be a little loud. We want some just like background vibes. Oh, yeah, that's already bringing the vibe up. Alright. 55. let's fix my Pokemon thing, and then we'll get back to actually doing the stream, because you know that's what I should be doing. Ah. Alright, that's probably good enough. And we can close this. Cool, why am I doing this to myself? Do one of those edgies I'm just sleeping streams and get some rest. No, I need to art. I haven't arted enough, and I also haven't streamed enough recently. So I'm catching up and doing things, being productive. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? All right. To start off the stream, I'm going to show off the cards. Arting is good for you. Exactly. Art makes me feel better. So this is actually going to be good for me. Is there a way I can get all of this in at once? I was trying to do this yesterday and really struggled. Because I don't know how Critter does... Yeah, it doesn't do a numeric zoom function. So we'll just have to... I guess we'll do... Yeah, we'll just do the 3 set. It'll be fine. Alright, so these are the art cards. These are my divination cards. I don't know if I have any of them currently around me.
All my cards are over here.
Oh, very good. Lizabelle is just getting her cards. You're alright? I'm glad you're alright. Thank you. So these are what they look like in the wild. So they've got these this cool symbol on the back, and then they all have their lovely image right way up on the front. So here is the Wanderer. Where's another good one in here? Actually, this one comes up. I've got a better version of this one that you'll be able to see in a second. So it's this lovely tank that's been like overgrown by moss and things like that. You love my headband? Lizzie's cards, yeah. One of your card sets. Because I made them all for Lizzie Bell to begin with.
All of them?
Not all of them, but...
I was going to say, you made me
specific sets, yeah. Yes, these are little LED. I've got some in the background as well, just chilling around. And then I've got these ones. These ones on my head are actually old ones, so they're running out of battery power, so they're not super bright. But I think it's nice.
Do you want some new batteries?
No, they're little button batteries. They're tiny.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, so they're... But yes, they're fun. Anyway, so these divination cards are things that I have done previously, but I wanted to clean them up and make them a little nicer. So I've changed the border out. I've made it a more intricate and interesting border. Might play with that a bit and see if we want to change the colorations or something. Not so bright, I can relate. Cog, don't be silly. Stretch. Ugh. Already making me do things. You do need to stretch.
Hello there.
Oh, you could do that. Hello there. And a hydrate. General Benobi. Buzz. There you go. Lizzie Bell is also doing a stretch. Aw. Stretch your butt. I'd rather not. It's not really what I'm into. Anyway, so these are going to be cards. Some of them are like old artworks that I've made that I put in, and then some of them are newer ones that I've fixed up. or older ones that I've fixed up. And then I'm going to be making new ones that I'm then going to be adding to. So these are the first set of... They're in sets of 6. Not all of them are necessarily linked, so this is a set of 2, this is a set of 2, these 2 are standalones. But there are other ones that are like sets of 3 or that kind of thing. So there's that lot, then there's this one, which I really like this whole group altogether, but these bottles with things in them are very, very fun. I enjoyed making these, the little islands and the mermaid and stuff. Then we've got these like little cute guys down here going to their death. I am a cute guy, thank you. And the owl of eternity. And then this bottom triptych here is very nice, this sort of 3 set. I am enjoying this as a design set for these 3 cards. So it's kind of like uncertainty, you're exploring or trying to find your path, and then having a path and a clear direction, though it might be difficult. And then the last one is like, there is a path, but there's danger at the end. So I like that as a set of 3 of like possible things that you can encounter when you're like using these cards for reading. Am I going to do a colored or a sepia black and white set? So these are all going to be a colored set to begin with. There are some black and white cards in there, as you can see, these 2. But the first lot are just all going to be colored ones, and then future releases will probably be more themed. So at the moment they're themed around concepts. There is the sort of Dusk Till Dawn set, which is about like birth and renewal, and then like, you know, ending, death, and change. And then there is the adventure and quest set, which is like adventuring is like exploration type stuff and like finding new things, and the quest stuff is like specific goals. So it's like goal-oriented or object-oriented towards specific things. And then all the new ones that I'm putting in now doesn't have a name to the set yet, but it'll be another dual set. So I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. At the moment, I think I've got something like 100 or so cards in just this new lot. Which will release, so that'll probably be sort of 2 or 3 sets that'll be released, and then I have another 200 odd cards that still need fixing up and changing. But these are all the new cards. These are the ones that haven't been released yet. I really like all of these, but I really like this bottom 3 set here. Works really well together. This sort of like warrior character, the phoenix, and then the storm in a bottle. Is this kind of like 3 different representations of this kind of like unbridled fury being bridled is an interesting concept. And I'm going to print them myself. I get a print company to do them. So previously I printed them through Officeworks. I've just gotten them to... so I have sold these in my Etsy store before. They're not in there currently, just because... it's like I needed to fix them. I needed to make them higher quality if I was going to keep selling them. I did get a complaint from someone that was like, "Oh, these aren't high enough quality for me. Blah 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 blah. I want a refund." And we had some words, but in the end, I kind of did come to the version 2.0. I did come to the kind of conclusion at the end that like, whilst she was being unreasonable based on what I had written in the description and based on what the images were. Like, it was very clear these are handmade cards, and that they're like they're artworks and art cards as much as they are like tarot or divination style cards, oracle cards. But there is an aspect of like, you kind of expect a level of refinement and I don't know, like. Yeah, there's like it's not the same as like a playing card that you would get. They're not gloss finished, they're not sealed, they don't have all cut trim edges exactly the same and things like that. And that was the appeal of the original cards. That's why I liked the way they were before. But I think I should be able to make a few sets that are a little bit more refined, a little bit more playing card like, just so that I have that, and I will make very clear distinctions between this is a handcrafted card, this is got a lot of intention behind it, and if you want that, buy that. This is a professionally printed, professionally cut card. They're all going to be exactly the same, but you lose a lot of the intuition and guidance and stuff from it. So it's like, yeah, two things. Some humans suck. Some humans very do suck. I suppose you can understand the constructive criticism with Barbie. I think that person was clearly unreasonable. Oh yeah, I agree. I think in the end, I gave them the refund and was like, look, I will let you keep the cards and I will give you a refund less the cost of shipping. Because you clearly think you bought something other and it's not to your standard. But I'll just to let you know, like, this was clearly stated, this was in the listing, and like, you should be more careful in future with what you're buying, because like there's intentionality behind what I did with these cards, and you're kind of misunderstanding the point of these. That's why they're important. But it's a realistic criticism that like they're not professionally done pieces, and I would like at least some of them to be. So there's that. Then we have our last two new ones down the bottom here. We're going to be adding more to this list, but these are the last two new ones. We've got our little mush mimic, our mush monster, and our divine agony angel. These two are actually going to be part of the merch. The first merch release. So there's going to be hoodies, t-shirts, jumpers, mugs, little water bottles and things that all have these two, and then another one which is the koi, which I can get up. Koi design, where is my koi design? There it is. Nope, that's not how I wanted that to open. Ugh. Open with Critter. There we go. And then this is the last one. This lovely sort of koi set in this rectangle. Hydration! You definitely love the screaming mush. For a hood or a tee, yeah. Me too. So those three at the moment are the main ones. I'm going to be adding way more. We're going to have all of my beautiful art on various different t-shirts and things, and as prints. But I'm just trying to find the right company at the moment. So Streamlabs has their own company that they use. So I'm going to start by using their pre-built thing, because it comes with a pre-built store and it's really easy to integrate. And then all of the payment for it just comes through the one company. It comes through Streamlabs, which already sort of does donations via Twitch. So it's all kind of payment in the same one area, which simplifies things a lot. But I don't know the quality yet, because I haven't received... I'm going to buy some wholesale, like at cost products, just so I can see what it's like. If the quality is good enough, then I will release it for everybody else to buy. If it's not good enough, if I'm not happy with it, for A, the cost, and B, the quality, then we're just going to find another company and we'll start the whole thing again, basically. I have cleaned up these images. It's hard to tell, but like the scanning takes away a lot of the color and the vibrancy and stuff. But these are the original cards that I did from some of the older sets. Got some sexy ones. Beebs up here. Here is that card again. So remember the tank card I was showing you. So here it is. It's much more vibrant now. It's got a lot more definition of color. So we're gonna we're going to be working on that. So we've done a few of these. I've got some more of the old sets here. So we have a lovely vodka bottle. We have effervescence down the bottom here. We have the shaman card. What else have we got? Backstab. We've got water. We've got surrender. Bees. All the bees. Clouds. These two I really like. These two pair together. Toilet. Bathroom. Awesome plants. A few artists you know have done Kickstarters to make their own tarot cards. Yes. So that's a potential option if companies are going to be too expensive to purchase. But I think I can afford at the moment to do a limited run, to buy like 100 sets worth or 20 sets worth or something, and then go off there. Arkan has... Oh, we both caught it. Yes. It likes my balls better today, that's it. Sure does. Okay, so that's it. That's all the cards we're at the moment. I still have to put in all of these new ones, which are awesome. So I've been doing these. These are more drawings that have been done recently. Haha, balls. So all of these need to go on as well. That's sort of some mildly admin-y art stuff rather than like interesting art stuff. So we're probably just going to color one of these. So we've got 4 to choose from at the moment. We've got this windmill with sort of spirits, ghosts. We have like one of my characters sitting and incense and smoking. We have, oh, love you, Barbs. Self-care, looking after yourself. Then we have this imposition, I think is probably what I would call it. Basically the same character again being stopped by these sort of guard figures. Then we have a lovely tea party. Again, same character. This character is going to be a running theme in one of the sets. So we've already seen it a couple of times in these lots of cards. If we go back. So that kind of is the start of it, but like, here's the character again, there's the character again. Here it is sitting down. And there it is again, these two. So there's a few of this same character sort of playing through in that, which is nice. I think that comes across well as an interesting set for the cards. And then the last thing we're going to do, which we will do at some point randomly, or just whenever anybody wants to talk about it, we're going to have a discussion about the Ship of Theseus. The ritual I did at Pine Street Gallery, the pics came up on Facebook. Yes! Yeah, we did lots of fun things with that. So, yes, the Ship of Theseus discussion is a thing we're going to do as well. Just because I said we were going to do it on channel and we still haven't gotten around to doing it yet, so I feel like we probably should. And I'm sort of in a tired mood. I don't know what kind of mood you'd call it. I'm not all here, I think. There's been a lot going on recently. I haven't been getting the best sleep. So we'll just have an interesting, we'll just have a stream, interesting stream, and we'll chill. A little bit here, a little bit everywhere, that's it. Ship. On your memories, a ghost ship traveling to Limbo. You've been sick as well? Oh, that's no good. What have you been sick with? What are you dying of? Will be here with me? Oh, thanks. Alright, I think I'm gonna just start with the first one, because that seems like the best way to go about doing this. And we'll start by just deleting all the background. And we're gonna need to trim this. So we'll just crop it down to there-ish. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day, / morning, / evening, / whatever it is for you. As we said, mine's been alright, I guess. We are listening to Epidemic Sounds, some funky music in the background. If you have any questions about that, feel free to ask in the chat. Or let me know if the music's too loud, not loud enough, etc., etc. Oh, the flu that you had. You were off work last week. Still not 100%. Also not sleeping the best. You're better for seeing me. Oh, thanks, Bubs. We need to hang out again soon. I'm so bummed. I'm so annoyed at them for fucking up your thing. Barbie was doing an awesome like workshop, an art workshop, teaching folk how to get drunk and make art. And then they cancelled it on her because they're cunts. How do I want to do this? Is this just going to select everything? It probably will, won't it? Yeah, it is. My line art's not clean enough to be able to do mass selecting like that, which is very annoying. But that's fine. We can do this another way. What I might do is. You had a meeting today, you're going to sort it out? Cool. There's an add-on right now. Okay, well, I'll try not to say anything too interesting in the meantime. But yeah, she was doing a, like, if you've ever been to one of those bubbles and brushes type thing, or like, it's basically just like alcohol and art together. Which is pretty awesome. I'm just gonna do this really loosely, I think. It doesn't have to be perfect. Actually, I don't know why I'm even bothering doing that. I'm just gonna color it in and we'll go from there. Yeah, color. Why is that not coloring? Yep, normal. Opacity, yep. On this layer, draw. Select, done. Draw, there we go. Hey! This is not the BYO kind, but booze included, and we're going to relaunch. Cool. It's focused on your lovely windmill. More hydration. But yeah, so if you're in Sydney, anybody, keep your ears peeled, because the lovely Barbie is going to be doing this workshop again, or finally. So that's the thing to look out for. But yeah, it's at a bar, so it's not like BYO, it's provided for you. Licensed event. And she will be teaching people how to make an artwork or do an artwork with them. Which is already her job. A little bit. So this is just more of that same. And I did some of that recently, actually. I did it for one of our friends' Hens Nights, Hens Days, Hens Somethings, which was good fun. We did a lovely stag painting. This is an interesting one. I'm going to turn this down ever so slightly. And skip. How much music is here? Not a whole lot. But I'm liking the chill. I did. The pictures look cool. Yeah. Thank you. Don't know if this is the right color to start off with, but I just wanted to get some kind of block of color down that I could then work around. Might end up lightening this, but we'll see. See how we go. I figure if we just start with big blocks of color first, it'll make it easier to work on from there. It's that empty canvas issue. I find a lot of people, myself included, have issues with if you're trying to make something. And especially if you have like issues with perfectionism, sitting in front of a blank canvas or even something that you know is supposed to be like a measure of perfect, so knowing that some of this is going to end up as like artworks that get sold, there's an aspect of stressing over it looking exactly like you want it to first time every time, which is entirely unrealistic and fairly detrimental to working practice, because it effectively just cripples you and stops you from being able to work on it. But everybody sort of goes through that same well, not everybody, but a lot of people go through that same thing of like, if the canvas is empty, it's really difficult to just start. Couldn't find any reference images. Oh, save the work, thank you. Using Minecraft to build hallways to help you get perspective for your own artwork. That is a great idea. There are a few programs out there if you want to use them. I couldn't give you names off the top of my head, but there are 3D mapping programs that basically show you no, I don't want to save it as a JPEG. Come on, critter. You shit. Here we go. Windmill. Yeah, there are programs that use like a 3D perspective modeling thing, and you can like rotate figures and spaces in 3 dimensions so that you can get a sense of what it's supposed to look like on your drawing for a 2-dimension. But yeah, I don't know of any particular one that I would advise using. So Minecraft is probably a happy second in my mind. You couldn't find any reference images that looked right, so you're just making your own. That's pretty cool. See, you need to do a hallway with little inlet and a worship altar and a statue inside. Yeah, perfection is overrated. I mean, it's not necessarily perfectionism, which, yes, perfectionism is entirely overrated. We should stop doing things like that. But it's just like that. The entropy thing of like, well, not entropy. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Inertia. There you go. The inertia issue of like being unable to start something, being unable to move, because you're crippled by you know, anxiety or the need for something to be exactly like it's supposed to be is a huge issue for artists and the art world in general that I have noticed. And so especially with something like this, like I can see aspects of hesitating on doing things, which I do all the time, because I'm like, oh no, it needs to be perfect, so I'm going to sit and plan it out and, you know, spend all the time trying to make it look exactly right the first time, rather than just going, okay, it doesn't matter if this first one is, you know, bluff or buggered or whatever, we'll get there in the end. And that sometimes just making a mark on the page is the thing that breaks it. Like inertia, like breaks the inertia, which is basically exactly how inertia is. Once you've started, it's much easier to continue, but you have to be able to start, and that's the trick. So being able to just put a mark on the page is good if you can. You like the work I do for you because you're not paying me, so it doesn't stress too much. Always looks more natural than my professional stuff. Yeah, I mean, even that can have some inertia behind it as well, because it's like, oh, you know, you got to think of the thing and you want it to be right, and because it's like going to be something that ends up like with our names attached to it, you know, there's still a level of, you know, wanting it to look right. So there is some inertia there. There is some, you know, art block that happens. Because I don't just get all of that done straight away. Like, it takes me time. But yeah, that's one way to sort of get around it, I guess, is when it doesn't have a big weight behind it, when it doesn't need to be perfect, I guess, is the thing. Big issue, especially for commissions, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Definitely a giggling gift. If you have the right structure and design, yeah, it can greatly help. Absolutely. If you have reference images that like are perfect, or if you have like a very particular thing in mind, like an idea in mind, or a very particular color palette, like a color set that you want to use, that can really help. Basically, just push everything over the edge. So where you might be sitting and umming and ahhing and being like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out right. I don't know if I can come up with the right, you know, first stroke or whatever. If you have that design, if you have that color set ready to go, then that can really push you to like start working on it. And then once you've started, it's not as bad. But it's a big hurdle to get over. And having taught children for ages, I've noticed that like more and more that's the case. Like kids either want to do, like they'll either do something that they do not care about, and just like half-ass it entirely. But it means that they can, you know, make a bunch of them. They can make 100 shitty artworks, without thinking about it because they don't care. But the moment they need to do something for an assessment, or when they want to do something to make it look good, then suddenly it's cripplingly hard to do. And it's difficult to teach, you know, ways around that. The coping strategies I say is usually get 2 pieces of paper. On the second piece of paper, the one that you're not actually going to do your you know, commission piece or your you know, your assessment work on, just start scribbling, like draw little pictures of people, draw little smiley faces or circles, and just like practice getting the movement of your hand or getting the movement of like the gesture on the page. And as soon as you've made a mark, then the canvas is sullied already, so it doesn't matter if you fuck it up now because you've already kind of fucked it up. And so then you just keep working, and that sort of gets rid of the inertia. But it's hard to it's hard to get people to get on board with that concept because it's kind of counterintuitive. Like, wreck it in the first place so that you can fix it later, rather than just do it right the first time. Because people inherently want things to just be done right the first time. Or at least most people do. There are definitely some people who just don't give a shit. You agree? As you have taught kids and you experience that as well? Yeah. You love cutting images together in Photoshop to give yourself a nice little reference? Yeah, that's a great practice for... That's how most, like, professional artists work. They'll take 3 or 4 different reference images, or you know, hundreds, but like 3 or 4 is usually the standard, and they'll just Photoshop them together or cut them together, and blend them so that they've got like a set of like clear definition for what they want, and then just start working off some aspect of that so that it's not this overwhelming thing. Technology is helpful for that, yeah. Work around your mistakes. Musician's rule. Yeah. Well, you know, that's sort of something they do teach in art. You know, take your mistakes and turn it into great art, which is sort of what university is for art teaching practice. Is learning how to take something and work with it. Take the medium and let it speak for itself. Let the artwork talk and tell you where it needs to go. Thank you for telling me to save the work. Da-da. If you mess up and make part of a song and keep singing, you're bad at that, but sometimes you'll realize that you've sung the wrong lines and point out and then laugh and keep going. Yeah, well, you know, these things happen. And you gotta keep going. There are some lovely art streamers, ladies and gentlemen. Check them out. Sadly, with your art, you have to do it right the first time. Yeah, there is an aspect of that. And like, it is the same with, you know, people who are using very expensive materials, if they're doing traditional art and stuff like that, where you don't have the ability to, like, fix it, necessarily. Or fix it in the same way. But there's also an aspect of, like, you can start clipping lightly, in terms of, like, dog grooming. You can start clipping lightly in an area and then go to, like, doing the more intense stuff. There is a way to start more gently, I guess, is the sort of the concept. That, like, making a mark to begin with, to get over that initial hurdle of, like, okay, I need to actually start this. I need to actually get going. But yeah, it is a slightly different beast when there's an animal involved. This is true. There are some lovely artists there if you want to check them out. There is the Discord if you haven't joined. I would highly advise. Oh, this one has lyrics. Interesting. Interesting. You're a mistake and you're a Van Gogh piece. There you go. Tell your kids this now. You said that your mistakes might be the best mistake of your life. Absolutely. Some of the best artworks were mistakes to begin with. Like, that's legitimately how that works. Clearly it works. Exactly. Self-care. Make sure you look after yourself. Get a drink. Get something to eat. Rest if you need to. Lizzie Bell has taken herself to bed already, which is self-care. She's looking after herself, which is good. You similarly should look after yourself if you can. And if you can't, then I'll have to come and force you to look after yourself. Aggressively supportive of your friends. Exactly. As you should be. She's good like that. This term, classes are focused on mark making. Very nice. Forced love. You had 3 meals today, including coffee. The coffee is not a meal if it's just a coffee. Just so we're clear. Because I know how you like to turn what is essentially one meal or a snack into multiple meals by claiming that they're different things. Lizzie Bell is offering to yell at you from the other room. She will. She'll do it. You had an egg for breakfast. A single egg. Mark making in clay, paint and drawing. Very nice. What sort of mark making are you going around? Is it like gestural forms, or is it like line and geometric shapes or pattern work? An egg with 2 rice cakes, and you made a sandwich, and then you had a very hearty vegan stir fry for dinner. That's a meal. Okay, I will accept that. That's 2 meals there. I will accept and relent in my querying. Lines, geometric shapes, and gestures. Very nice. To represent different textures and things like grass or brick. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, we do that. We do that with the year 7s and 8s. At school. They do a texture and pattern topic area, which is essentially just like they'll look at different artists and how they have represented texture and pattern, especially in like 2D works, and then work on developing a series of like textural tonal drawings, and then they work in different materials to make like textural stuff. We don't go quite as in depth as we could have, I think, but it does a decent job. They get a sense of that, I think. Nibbled on what was left of your chili line mission chips, which is a snack, which is good, but it's still a snack. Please eat more. Texture and patterns is good. Yeah. Yeah. All good things. All right, we'll finish filling in, I think, this. Oh, there's more. Spritzy. Do I want to catch a Spritzy? Yeah, why not? Good catch. Is that Coke I'm having? Yes, I am drinking Coke at the moment. I am trying to stay awake. I had considered putting a little bit of vodka in it as a celebration for finishing the term out. But I think for the moment I'll probably just keep it as non-alcoholic for now until I get convinced otherwise, or have to refill and this, fancy strikes me. But I think I'm probably fine. Just having cola. You sent me a little something you were working on for Experimenter. Ooh. You can show it on stream, because Experimenter doesn't watch our streams unless he's in them. That's funny. Where did you send it? On Messenger? Let's double check. I don't remember seeing a thing, but I may have been asleep and checked the thing while sleeping. Oh, on Discord. Okay. Ugh, making me open things. I don't think I have, Oh, there we go. Oh, it's lovely. Isn't it lovely? Alright, let's open this up. And then stretch. Thank you. I'll just open up the web page. There we go. Check out that lovely stick. Oh, stretch. It's got some lovely bind runes and some Ogham on there. Lovely Star of David down the bottom. Some chicken feet. Dragon toes. There is my Instagram, lovely people, if you would like to check that out. Oh, Louis here. It's Charmlog. Very nice. I am sure he will appreciate that greatly. The tree gave it to you the other day, so you decorated it for him, and it's meant to be burnt. And he's going to put it in the fire, and it will burn. Cool. Gift of the tree. Yeah. Those are always the best gifts, I find. Gifts from nature that you then sort of handcraft yourself. I keep trying to get Mel's family to, like, hand make me things for Christmas. Because they always ask what we want. And I'll be like, oh, you know, like a painting or some other lovely handmade thing. And they just refuse. Yeah. Mel's mum did a knitting for me, which was very nice. So more of that. We like handmade gifts in this household. Very lovely. Alright, how are we looking? There's one more down here that needs doing. And we'll do this little path. I'm kind of thinking like dirt. Really light, gravelly dirt. And then we'll darken it. Add some something. Ooh, that's way too big. That's still too big. That's what she said. It was a jumper, I believe. From memory. My memory's not the best all the time. He's asleep on the lounge. Oh, adorable. Too big? No, it was nice. It fitted perfectly. I'll have to fish it back out now that it's winter. Forget where I put it. Obviously we can't use it in summer because it's way too hot for that. But it's definitely cold enough now. It was -3 degrees the other day in the morning when we got up for work. And I was dying a little. Alright. Stone steps. Now, is this going to do what I want it to do? Probably not. Kind of want to like select this and then say unselect. What is the... There we go. Alt. And then unselect all of this. Unselect that. unselect this. Unselect that. And all this at the top. The idea here is all of this bottom bit's going to be grass, but I want it to be differentiated from the trees that we've already got in here. So start with a darker. Actually, start probably with a brown, like that. Here we go. I have done a silly. Here we go. If we shit, like that, and then like that. There we go. That does it. That does it. And then boop. And then we'll use the okay. I'm going to use this to just this isn't the best way to do this, but it's the way we're going to do it for now. Am I happy with that? Or do I actually just want it to be like solid blocks color? I think I actually just want solid blocks color. So something a little darker. And then we'll go in and actually put something like that. Yeah, that's sort of the idea. He's so cuddly. Yes, get warm, absolutely. You're walking last night and your nipples became deadly weapons. Yeah. You like the ad? Definitely gonna design some Viking thermal hoods for camping. Absolutely, we need it. For sure. The Mentos ad. I remember the exact ad you're talking about. I know exactly what it is. Yeah, this was a special kind of awful back in the day. But let's put it up. This is all for you, Cog. You've specifically asked for it. Things you make me do. Terrible. It is fucking wild that that ad actually, you know, made it past, the sensors. Select invert selection. Is that getting all of that? It is. Cool. Turn the opacity down slightly. Do what I wanted it to do. Let's have a look. Not quite fully. Select inverse. Over it again one more time. Ooh. There we go. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. You remember it now. Imagine the new exciting accident of water you could invent with those nips. There's also a gag for someone giving birth to Doritos. Oh dear. I'm not sure I've seen the Doritos one. Alright, that's a little cleaner. I like that a little better. So, save it. And keep working. Clean up some of these edges. Much darker for the sort of stain section here. I think these need to be much smaller. We can actually get in here. Kidnap Barbie for Yule next year? Absolutely. Barbie would be a great addition to our Yuletide adventures. Oh, Pidgeot, yes, I need a Pidgeot. For sure. Quick catch. Ultra Ball. Yeah, we're doing Melbourne trips, for sure. I tend not to, like, ask people because I don't want to impose. I know, like, making trips down to Melbourne and all over the place at short notice, or shorter notice, can be tricky, but I probably should just ask people, because there's a whole bunch of people who would want to come, who end up not coming, because they don't get asked. And then they're like, oh, I would have enjoyed coming. And I'm like, oh yeah, we would have loved to have you there. And then you do the stupid thing of, oh, well, I should have. Next time. We'll know for next time. I am butchering this a little. I can tell I'm tired. this is good just to get the base done, and then we can go in and refine everything later. I have said that about a few of my artworks now, which some of them remain unfinished. But it is legitimately better to do it this way. Yes, I got the Pidgeot. The whole Pidgey line, Pidgeot, Pidgeotto, Pidgey, is like my favorite, one of my favorite Pokemon lines. It has grown more so as I've stopped being an edgy teenage boy or an edgy young boy. Because they're like not the strongest, which is why I kind of didn't like them as much when I was younger. It was just kind of like, oh, you know, they're in the way and they you know, they're not strong, so I don't want to use them. But actually, they're really nice Pokemon to use, and then they're very pretty. They're very well designed, like evolution line. I just think they look awesome. Very regal bird. You never been camping and mosquitoes and you were deadly allergic? Yeah. Mel's the exact same. Yilmaz wasn't camping, it was just in the backyard. Ghost stories and roasted marshmallows. Yeah, that was essentially what it was. There was ghost stories, there was ridiculousness, lots of drinking, there was marshmallows, there was a fire that we hung around, and then we did some ritualing, which was nice. Alright, this is coming together nicely. Alright, we want this kind of like deep purple. For the shades here. Be welcome to camp in the backyard. There's lots of space, absolutely. There sure is. Still have to curl up inside with the cat. You're an indoor type of gal. That's fair. Well, the other thing that we end up doing when we're down in Melbourne is we go out to all the awesome places. So we went to Fortress this time, which was great. It's a D&D themed, gaming themed bar in the city, which is very cool. Come on, music. You're not holding the vibe. Yeah, we had an Airbnb when we were down. Drink part sounds good. Fortress is where they host the esports. It is very me, the bar. Yeah. Have any fook? Alright, re-evaluation of the vibe check. I think we're back up in the 70s. 72, I reckon. The vibe has improved considerably. Good folk, good music, good chats, good art. Or at least decent art at the moment. It will be good art when it's done. Oh, 46, counted them myself. But last year I got 47. Some of them are quite a bit bigger than last year. I don't care how big they are. That's what she said? Question mark? Guess that one depends on who she is. Da-da. Harry Potter for life. Potty Hara. Scared Potter. Because we can cuddle later in my dorm if you like. That's how it goes, right? You wish. New fish. Hydration. Thank you, Babs. And a stretch. Jeez. I need to put a limit on these. How much you can make me stretch. Alright. Stewed dish. You're a funny lot. It's weird, some of this music is really quiet, some of it's quite loud. It's not balanced very well. So we'll finish colouring this and then we'll have our Ship of Theseus discussion. Because I think that'll be good fun, especially given that the chat is active. Save the work, thank you, Barbie. So this particular artwork was based on a game called, is it Black Book? Yeah, Black Book, which is a game about like Slavic witchcraft and Slavic mythology. There's a part in the game where you go to a an old mill, and there's spirits that are living there, and then there's a demon that's turning the mill and is causing trouble for the mill keeper. So I was inspired to make this lovely artwork for Drawtober. Which I now realize, or realized the other day, that I'm not going to be here for, because I'm actually in France and then Iceland for much, if not all, of October. So, what I think I'm going to do is do it early. I'm going to do Drawtober in probably August or September. just so that everything's prepared and ready. I might do some of them on stream. I'm not sure. Probably will. And then I'm just going to post them. I'm going to have them prepared, like pre-prepared to post on the days. So for the first time, I will actually get one done every single day, because I will have already had them all finished. Oh, Louis dreaming and twitching. That's adorable. An adventure game. It's kind of an adventure game. So it's a story RPG type game with card-based mechanics. So you fight via a card deck system. And then it's sort of roguelite-ish. You add to your deck. It's a deck builder over time, and you can like gain power-ups and extra stat boosts and things like that from finding things and doing things within the game, sort of RPG style. And then, if you fail, then you can start the run over and you lose everything. But yeah, it's a fun little game if you're into that sort of mythology, or if you're into sort of that game style, sort of RPG deck builder style. It's a good one. It was a Kickstarter that I kickstarted, but I believe it's now on Steam. It's called Black Book. Pretty cool. I have enjoyed it. I haven't gotten very far through it. I was considering playing some of it on stream, but I sort of don't know enough of the mechanics to be confident in playing it. Like, I spend a fair amount of time umming and ahhing about certain decisions and stuff. And I don't know enough about the folklore to be able to, like, talk about it. So I would be hesitant to play it on stream, just because, people would ask questions and be like, I have no idea what this is. I don't know what's going on. And then just sort of struggle through it. Which, some streamers do that, but I don't know if that's my style. That's what I want to do, necessarily. Alright, this is looking pretty good. We'll chuck a background in there. And then we might be able to just... That's what we want to do. So we want it to be this sort of darky blue purple. Sort of a deep blue, and then we want the other one to be... Nope, that's not what we wanted. Probably more in the purple register. A little bit more in the purple register. There we go. And then we want the other end to be this deep blue. Okay, so then we probably want this purple to be actually a little bit more vibrant. How do I color the gradient here? No, we don't want a pattern, we just want the gradient. This, yes. Paint that. Will that do? That? No, that's just colouring the same thing. How do I... Oh, no, here it is. Alright, like that. Cool, alright, so this is the one we want, we just want to darken this. So edit this and darken it. There, and then this one. Okay, let's try that again. Ah, it's better. Oh, I missed the Lumion. Sorry, yes. France, do I want recommendations? Absolutely, we will take recommendations for France. We are going to the south of France and then Paris. So that's where we're gonna be. And sort of working out from there what's happening. We don't have a whole lot of time, but we've got a bit of time while we're there, which is nice. So yeah, any recommendations you can make would be cool. Yes, cool about the music is very Milan. It was, yeah. Yeah, so this is just an Epidemic Sound playlist for someone put it together for art streams, apparently, so we're just playing around with this. I'm probably going to steal some of the songs off this to put on our regular art playlist. But I wasn't quite feeling the jazzy electro swing that I usually have on my playlist. That was a bit too vibrant for what I was going for today. So we've got something a little bit more chill. How are we staying? How long are we staying for? We're in south of France for a week. We're in Paris for just under a week. And then we go to Chantilly, which is a small town, but that's for a wedding, so we'll be pretty busy while we're there. And then we're spending a week in Iceland afterwards, which is pretty well all sorted. I know pretty much what I want to do while we're there, which will be good. This is basically we're going for a wedding, and then it's sort of honeymoon 2.0, because COVID really killed our plans, unfortunately. We were originally going to go to Japan, which would have been awesome. We were learning Japanese and everything. And then everything closed because of COVID, so... But we were very lucky. In between huge spikes, we managed to have the wedding. We managed to have it exactly as we wanted it. Very limited restrictions. So it was very good. What does this sound like? This is a sound-alike of a song. What is it? There is a song that sounds exactly like this. You can make some recommendations for sure. Awesome. Iceland is great. Yes. Romance. Yeah, Japan another time. Absolutely. You'd like to go again? Yeah, me too. You should come with. We'll do Japan together. We'll be weebs. I want to go to Killick & Co. Takashi Murakami's art studio. Next time I'm there. Because I missed out on going when I was there last time. I didn't have enough time to suss it out and find it. So that's in the list. I swear it's such a sound-alike of a song, and I'm trying to think of what it is. Guess we'll never know. Let's go see Murakami. Absolutely. Also, like, going to check out some Ghibli stuff would be cool. Practically miming yesterday. I mean, I was miming yesterday. I literally mimed for a bit. Alright, so we've done a pretty good job of that. I'm just going to save it. And then quickly run to the little boy's room. And then we'll come back and discuss the ship of Theseus. Because that's fun. So I'm going to leave the audio running. But yeah, I'll be right back. Thank you for the hydrate. I'm back! Hello! Henry, what are you doing? Henrold. Where is my tier cam? And I will show you. Nope, that's the wrong one. There we go, second camera. Henrold! I'm back on Bard. Hello there!
Hello there.
General Kenobi. Henry's not sure if he should go back to bed or if he should sit on the couch. Isn't that right, Henry?
Hello there.
Hello there. Making use of the sound alerts there. Very good.
Hello there.
This is going to be the stream now, is it? Is it just going to be you two for the rest of the time? What you doing, Henry? What's your fuss?
Hello there.
This is a very strange pixie dance. Alright. That's what it was called. How close are we to the end of this playlist? Oh no, we've still got a bit away. Okay, cool. So, is Henry behaving? Ish. He was very naughty today. We're a bit annoyed at him at the moment. but we're doing all right so far. All right. So, Ship of Theseus. I think this is how you spell it. Theseus? I don't know. I don't actually know. So we'll get rid of that. So Ship of Theseus. Oh, we'll call it the HMS. The HMS Artist. Ugh. Goddamn guidelines. I don't need a guideline right now. They're more like guidelines than actual rules. I misspelled artist. Cool. Let's try this again. Artist. Nope. Fuck. Ah. There we go. Cool. We're off to a great start. So, the HMS Artist is crewed by 100 men, 100 ship hands, 100 hands. These 100 hands look after the ship, and if anything happens to break on the ship, say a panel gets broken, what they do is they take the panel off. Sounds a bit sexist, yeah. They take the panel off and then replace it with a new panel. So panel comes off and a new panel comes on. I said hands. See, look, hands. 100 hands. They are genderless hands. Merry ladies, merry men's, merry MBs, merry theys, merry whatevers. They can be whatever they want to be. We do not discriminate on the HMS Artist. Anyway, back to the point. So, the ship, when anything breaks, the piece of broken item gets taken off, and then the piece of the new item gets put on. Over the course of the however long it sails for, let's say 30 years. Sails for 30 years, and in that time, every single piece of item on this ship breaks. Every single piece, from the mast to the prow of the ship, the anchor, the helm, the canvas for the sails, literally everything, ropes and all. Genderless blobs, exactly. We're only hiring genderless hands on this ship. You have to be genderless. So, over the course of these 30 years, everything breaks and everything is replaced. Is this still the same ship? Is it still the HMS Artist? Yes or no? Question mark. Yes, the anchor is definitely genderless. So, is it the same ship? Now, people will say absolutely it's definitely the same ship, even though it's got new parts. That's easy, reasonable. There's no problem there. There is the argument is usually made that, like, oh well, the ship has changed slightly, but it's still effectively the same ship. So, you know, the difference between origin, which would be here, origin, to concurrence or currency, is not necessarily an issue in terms of like whether or not the ship is still the same ship. Depends how many genders are aboard. Alright, so So that's not so much an issue. What is an issue, and this is where the second part of this argument comes in, and this is where my students, when I tell them this, always get confused and freak out. So, you have spent 30 years replacing every single part on this ship. All the parts have been taken off it, and new parts put on. So the ship is there with its original 100 hands, sailing along, though 30 years older. But then they want to commemorate this great ship, the HMS Artist. And so what they do is they take all of the original broken parts, and they piece them back together to make a second ship. So ship number 1, the HMS Artist, and ship number 2, the HMS Artist. Do you see where this is going? So now we have 2 ships. We have the HMS Artist, still working, still in commission, still running with its 100 hands. This is the HMS Artist. It's the same ship. Now, you have the HMS Artist that was constructed from all the original pieces and put together. So which one's the real ship? Is this one real? Or is this one real? Which one is the HMS Artist? You couldn't call it the HMS Artist 2 because it's all the same parts of the HMS Artist. It is, using all the original parts, it is therefore the HMS Artist. It is the HMS Artist. Using all the original parts, using all the creation. Now, is the argument concurrence? Is the argument that the 100 hands are still working on this ship and that the ship has been moving forward original parts in a new ship? Okay, interesting. So then we take this idea to be like a person. What if there was a person? We had artist, the person, and he steps into a teleporter and gets transported to Mars. And on Mars, he is reconstructed. So he's broken down, and then all his parts go to this new place and get reconstructed over here, and he's teleported. Which one's the real one? Is it this one, the original one, or is it this new one that's created? And if the first one doesn't get broken down and the new one is created and they both exist simultaneously, which one is the real one? And then we take it a step further and we go about religions. So then you have like Christianity. And Christianity begins from a particular point and then people start changing it and things start changing and branching off. And so then you have like 4 different types of Christianity, which one is the real Christianity? So then we have Wicca, for example. The idea of like a reconstructed faith. If you're taking parts of it and reconstructing it, so if you're adding new things on, like the HMS Artist, if you are adding new pieces to fix broken pieces or fill in gaps, because you all said it was this one, you all said it was this ship that was the real ship. Concurrence, as long as it continues on, it's the real one. Even if you change it entirely, even if you make it entirely different, even if it's made of entirely different things, then the person on Mars is the real person, not the person who still exists back in... And then the religion that comes after it, even if it's not based in any of the tradition that the original religion comes from, it's the new religion that's the real one. Depend on the soul or the mind, but the mind is essentially just your consciousness. It's your brain. It's how your brain chemistry is. So your brain just would continue. This music, yeah, it's perfect timing. Your brain would just continue. We also don't know how the soul works. So if it's transferred perfectly across, then maybe there's 2 souls. And they're exactly the same. Which one's real? You have the same essence, same being represented. It's usually at this point that my students start freaking out, and then I start telling them about things like how atoms are so far apart from each other, and that they never actually touch each other, that technically they've never touched anything, because atoms don't touch. If they did, there'd be like explosions. So like your hands don't actually touch themselves when you put them together. There's just an electromagnetic field that pushes them apart from each other. And so then you get to say things like your parents have never actually hugged you. And that usually upsets people, which is fun. Anyway, back to drawing a windmill. Spirit life, spirit ship. Yeah, usually my like my position or my end result whenever we're having a discussion about the ship of Theseus is like both ships are the original ship. Both ships are the real ship. Because real or original just depends on like your semantic argument of what original or real happens to be. You can argue for concurrence, you can argue for like the original parts, and the argument of like it's a new ship with the same parts because it's been rebuilt is a good one, but then like what about the first ship makes it more real or original than the other one, just because it's being rebuilt, because the first one was rebuilt. It had to be rebuilt so that they could fix the broken parts. And if it's about the concurrence, then what happens when you get like into religion or people or things like that, that like if it changes over time, then how can you argue that like it is still the real thing or the right thing, especially if what is changing is pushing it away from what it originally was. And that's going to be a difficult, as sort of societies and people and artificial intelligence and all these sorts of things develop more strongly, we're going to have to come up against these questions and these arguments of like, are augmented humans still, and to what degree, and is artificial intelligence as it changes still the same like system that we originally built, even if it's editing itself and changing itself. Give you enough whiskey and you can argue anything. I mean, yeah, like semantically anything can be argued if you have the right words. The problem is that it's not necessarily correct. Well, not correct in like the like logically sound. It's very difficult to have like a logically consistent and sound argument that is based on like the facts of the situation or the internal logic of the situation. There are definitely people who can just like argue any point and be persuasive in any point. But there's something in these arguments that do kind of need to be worked out, and that's why philosophers have anguished over them for so long, trying to work out, what was the truth of it. And as we get a stronger understanding of the world around us, we are going to need to similarly work out what it is that we think and hold as the truth. You have some Smokehead whiskey here. Oh, very nice. Very smoky. There's no one right answer for the ship of Theseus. Both are real, but the ship itself is still a new ship made out of old parts, just as an exact duplicate. But the argument, yes, there's no right answer. But the problem is with the answer that you're providing is the original ship is the same. It is a new ship that has been created each time. So is it a new ship every single time? Do you have to change its name every single time you change anything on it?
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Ship to shore. Actually, I don't think I want a Wooper. Yeah, and then the argument of like originality because it is the original parts is the other issue of like that is the real ship. The argument can be made that the other ship is, the first ship, but what if... So, for example, the continuation of that kind of argument is, what if you started with a sailing ship, and over time like armor gets added to it, and then the hull gets changed out, and then rather than being cannons, it gets artillery placed on its top deck, and so it gets outfitted in a way that entirely changes the ship in like completely, so that it's an entirely new ship, like a new design of ship entirely. And then the first ship gets put together, and it is the original design for the ship, the intended ship as it left port the first time. Then arguing that it is the first and the real ship makes sense, because it's all the same parts and it's exactly the design that it left with. Concurrence in that case doesn't necessarily make the claim for, it's the real one. But it's there's no right answer. It's a conundrum, a philosophical conundrum that we cannot fully argue for or against. Because it could have started out like a sloop, and then by adding more and more pieces onto it, you end up with like a galleon. By changing things piece by piece, little by little, to make it an entirely different ship. Is that the same ship? By your first argument, it would have to be. It's the same ship. It's called the same thing. It's got the same people on it. Same ship, same energy, same people. Thing you make out of the old bits is a new ship. Just by definition. Okay, so if it has new people on it, if it has an entirely different everything, then is it an entirely new ship even if it has the same name? If the spirit of the ship is entirely taken away and turned into something new, like if it's turned from an old sailing ship into like an old fishing ship into a military ship, so that its entire feel, its spirit is changed, then is it an entirely new ship? And in the process of changing it into a new ship, the old parts for that ship are then it's a different ship. Okay, but it's still concurrent, it's still the same ship. How many grains of sand does it take to make a mountain? That is essentially the argument. Which is an arbitrary distinction. Like, only you can come up with that argument in the end, because it's where you draw the line between what is and what isn't. No, I said it'd been turned into a different ship, but at what point would it be a different ship? That's what I'm asking. So, if you add cannons to it, it's no longer a fishing vessel, but it's still called the HMS Artist, and it still has the same people on it. And then it gets a different crew, but it still has the same captain. And then it gets a different captain. And then it gets its hull changed to a metal one rather than a wooden one, because that makes it, more survivable in war times. And so it goes from being an old fishing ship, an old, military ship, to a very different military ship. Not only have you changed the kind of ship, you've taken everything from it. Yeah, but that's the argument in the original question. So you've taken everything from it that was its original form. You've taken everything off it and changed everything on it. So is it still the same ship? If all the parts in it have changed, then it isn't the same ship. Is it? Reconstruction. So here's another way to look at it. You have two sailing ships. They're exactly the same make. They have different crew on them, and they go sailing at exactly the same time. They go out in different directions, and they go and do different jobs. And as things break on them, they swap parts. And they continue to swap parts back and forth until all the parts that were on ship A end up on ship B, and all the parts that were on ship B end up on ship A. Is ship A still ship A, and is ship B still ship B? None of them have been reconstructed. They've been swapped back and forth. Which ship is which ship? If the crew swap over as well, is it still ship and ship? The original question that you position is that the ship is slowly rebuilt exactly the same every time it was repaired. So in the original theory, the question stops at parts being taken off and new parts being taken on. The rebuilding a new ship is that's a thing that's been added to the theory later on. That's an addition to the theory, as a way of like, okay, that's an interesting concept. Now let's try and take it a little further. And then there is a third one, which is that two ships exist and the two ships swap parts. And so which ship is which ship at which point? The arguments have different. Each version of the sort of the theory or story has a different repercussion based on what your answer is. So for the first argument of just when you take parts off, you put new parts on, at the point at which all new parts are there, is it still the same ship? The issue and argument around that is around like something that develops over time and whether it's still the same thing. So religion is one of them, but humans are another, because you don't start the same as when you were a baby. You're not the same size, you don't have the same thoughts, you don't have any of the same matter in you anymore. Nothing that was originally there is still there. People can argue the soul, but even that develops over time as it sort of evolves and changes, and parts of you develop and become new things as you interact with the world. So it's still changing. The repercussion is that still the same being? Is that still the same thing? Or is it a new thing at every point in space and time? The second argument is around things like teleporting and originality. If something was there and then suddenly isn't there anymore and then ends up somewhere else, is it the same thing? So like teleportation or cloning, there's implications for those sorts of discussions. And then the last one is just purely like as a response to, usually as a response to people's responses to the first 2 points. So the first 2 theories are about, a repercussion for the wider world, and then the third point is like a semantic. Okay, this is your position, so how would you respond in this case? If there is 2 ships, ship A and ship B, that just swap their parts over and their crew over, at what point does ship A become ship B? Or will that never be the case? And if that's never the case, why? Is there something inherent to concurrence that is the continuation of one thing if it would be identical to... If ship A would be identical to ship B at the point at which it left port. Crew, parts, everything. But it started out as ship A. Is it still ship A? Or is it ship B? But like I said, there isn't a right or wrong answer to these things. It is just how you feel about that position. In the end. Which is the fun of it, to some degrees. Yeah, my usual answer is to say that both are originals, both are the real ship. One is the real ship because it has been concurrently existing, that because it's still been running, it's still been doing things, still, holding the crew, and it has the sort of the experience or the history, that it is the real one in some aspects. And that the other one is the real one because it was exactly the ship. It's made of all the ship's parts that as it left, and it's not like it's a reconstruction using, false parts or new parts or anything. It is what was originally there. But people disagree with that. People don't like when you give them two answers to something that should only have one. With the boat specifically, though I know the idea is that the boat is a metaphor, yes it is, that's the whole point. I think it's in the eyes of the observer, which doesn't work when you start talking about people, because then things get messy. Well, it's the same with a boat, that's the problem. It's a metaphor because it can be viewed exactly the same way. That, there is a functionality, but there's also like you said, a boat has a feeling or a soul or an intention behind it, because humans use it and because we have experience with it. But with a boat or a car, if you've been replacing bits for years and that car is still your car, then if someone builds a new boat out of the old bits, that isn't your boat, car, aeroplane. I mean, can be. Can be if you're the one if you're the person building it. So you wanna honor the car, be able to show off the car by building the pieces, restoring the vintage that existed. And if you have so changed the original car that it's not the original car anymore, because you've changed so much of it, that it's not the old two-wheel drive Mustang that it once was. It's now a four-wheel drive, changed chassis with a new engine and new brakes, and the body kit is from a, current model Mustang. That's where we return to the eye of the beholder. Yeah, exactly. But even if you were making that argument with a person, is the question. So, is it the same person? If you got all the bits together, including the consciousness and the soul at the time of birth, and you made you again, is it you? And then, in the end, these kinds of things end up becoming circular arguments anyway, because it's the subjective, how you personally feel about it, response, and neither side is necessarily more correct than the other. You end up getting into these arguments of like, no, but. So that is essentially the Ship of Theseus discussion. B. Classic discussion, yeah. Buzz. It's coming together, that's right. Oh, you're too kind. Isn't there some canon thing about in one of the Justice League's comics of like Wonder Woman saying that Flash is too quick in the bedroom or something like that. Quick like a fox. Damn right. I'm foxy. Yeah, that happened. Yep. Yeah, Marvel definitely did some weird shit at some points. Oh, by the way, if anybody hasn't yet, go and check out Spiderhead on Netflix. Our lovely friend Ron is one of the characters in it. Plays a speaking role, which is very awesome. We're very proud of him for his amazing work. Got to hang out with Mr. Hemsworth. Oh, you're heading off. All good, Barbs. Go and charge your phone. Have a good night. Yeah, in Spiderhead. Check it out. It's on Netflix. It's actually a very good movie. I watched it and enjoyed it. There's a couple of things that I was like, nah, they probably could have done that better. But it's based on a novel by a short story by, I think it's Stephen King. So I think they were kind of stuck in certain aspects of like having to have certain characters do certain things. But yeah, it's very cool. Cartoon or real life? It is real life. Thank you for the chat, Narding. No worries. You're most welcome. Thank you for coming and joining us in our chats. And for adding your opinion to the Theseus discussion. I was going to about say, artist is saying, that's a good movie, that's extremely high praise. Yeah, there's a couple of things. Hey, even saying, yeah, there's a couple of things is high praise from me, because I always have notes. I have notes. I come with receipts. Can't help myself. Good night. Have a good one. This is funky. I think this needs to go on the regular art playlist. Whomever this is. Let's have a look. Daniel Friedel. Let's quickly write that down so that we don't forget. How long have we been streaming for? 2.5 hours. It is 10:30. All good. We'll keep going. We'll keep going. We may move on to a new artwork in a second, though. Just because I'm getting to the limits of what I would reasonably want to do on this one. Sort of nitpicking little things out of it. And I don't think that's the most interesting streaming, really, is like fixing up small mistakes. So, but it's coming together. I do think I need to add. We'll do this way. I think there we go. Just darken the outside of this slightly. Has that done the trick? It has. Cool. That might be a bit much. Let's pull that back slightly. Turn the opacity down even more. Chuck some of this into the background. There we go. So I would like these things in the foreground to have a little bit more light to them versus the background. Come across a dark windmill, seemingly abandoned on the top of a hill. Smoke-like figures can be seen coiling around it. What do you do? I'd be the dicko of Australian Idol. I don't know if I should take that as a compliment. I probably should. But it's hard to tell. Cool. Alright, that looks pretty good. We're happy with that, more or less, I think. Alright, so let's move on to another one. I think we'll work on this one just because it's got a lot of interesting stuff going on in it. And we can probably work on this a bit until the stream ends. Slack off. Yeah, let's get a slack off. And then we need to work out who we're going to raid, which we can't raid Cognitive Bard because he's not streaming. Very rude of him. So we'll have to find another raid target other than the Cognitive Beard. need to work out how to change the tolerance on this select tool, because it doesn't quite do what I would like it to do, which is a little annoying. It does like pretty much everything I want it to do, but in Photoshop and like GIMP, you can really refine down like how much tolerance you want to put into the select tool, and then because of that, it means that you can actually use the sort of the magic select tool to be a lot more specific, and you don't end up with just selecting huge areas unintentionally. So that's a thing. Now, how are we going to work on this? We did know for sure that these guard characters did have sort of goldeny masks on. So let's find a good gold color. That's a pretty decent gold color there. And we want to use the scratchy brush because I like it. Pencil brush. So again, we're just doing rough coloration to begin with, and then we're going to go in and do more detailed, cleaner coloration afterwards. Get tired. So the idea behind these characters, where they're supposed to be like religious guard, sort of like a leper almost. So they would be like covered in bandages and battle scars and all these kinds of things, but would still be very sort of impressively set out, and people would sort of give them the wide berth of both respect and concern. So the idea I had then was basically to have them covered in these white bandages, and then some of them would sort of be bloodied a bit, as a way of sort of showing off that ongoing injury thing, and then the sort of theoretical story behind it was working with the concept of these kind of leper characters as sort of throwing themselves into martial traditions as a way of giving back to the community. Like they can only work for so long because otherwise they then succumb to illness and injury, and as they do so, they then have to be looked after by other people, and so the trade-off to that is that while they still work and function, while they still can do those things, they will sort of guard the city in this kind of very selfless display, but also as a sort of a measure of sort of like self-determination. Like if they're gonna sort of fall apart and die anyway, they'd rather do it on their own terms. And so, you know, guarding and fighting is sort of the better way in their minds to go about that. But I wasn't sure where I would develop this concept further, so we sort of didn't really get any further than just that there was a story that could be explored some. But I did like the look of these guys when I first started making them and designing them. Some interesting aesthetic that came out. I'm also just a fan of the like heavy cloth wrapping aesthetic. There's something about it that seems to work. I did also specifically have them all have their own, like, distinct weapons. Like they had all been possibly trained in different things or had, like, different focuses in that kind of concept of, you know, they're not a trained military or militia necessarily, but it's just like a group of people who have come to an unfortunate situation, and so how they deal with it is by sort of coming together for the betterment of their society. So whatever they happened to, like, train in, and they're not necessarily all from, you know, from the same culture or place or whatever, it's where they ended up. Probably quite a few of them discarded from their own cultures because of stigma or just being unable to sort of tend to them medically. That's looking pretty good. A lot of the base here was kind of already done, luckily. So there wasn't too much that I needed to fuss or fix. Should consider what background I'm going to put behind them, actually. Because this just straight white one probably doesn't quite work. Let's do like a yellow wash, sort of desert-like. I had originally considered this being like streets, like walking down the streets of a market or something. Which I don't dislike as a concept. I think that does kind of work. And then just like very loosely define the edges of which because like we don't want it to be very obviously one thing or another. Okay, that's looking a little better. Marowak appears. Absolutely, let's catch us a Marowak. I'm gonna go through all my Pokeballs again, aren't I? How long have we got left on this playlist? A little bit. And then we'll change over to something else. We might find like a lo-fi or something. Thank you for the hydrate. I should probably sit up a little. Cup of tea before bed. That's a good idea. I can stream a little bit longer today, and I kind of feel like I should. Oh, I have been colouring on the wrong layer. Have I? Yes, I have. This layer is the one we've been working on. Yes. Alright, so let's colour into this. That was a bit stupid of me. Alright, skip. Markinana is doing some art. Ooh, I'm gonna quickly go and check that out. I could do more tomorrow. I absolutely could do more tomorrow. I'm probably going to do more tomorrow. But we do then have to... I have to jet off on Friday. Oh, he's doing some toast. It's cool. I like it. I like it. Yeah, we're probably if he stays doing art, we'll probably raid into him later. Because that'd be good. Yeah, unfortunately Friday I've got to jet down to Sydney with the lovely Lizzie Bell. Which means that a Thursday stream won't be too late. Won't be able to run too late. Which is fine. We don't usually run too late anyway. And then... I don't know what we're doing tomorrow for streaming. I think, Cog, you said something about not streaming. Or not being sure what was happening with streaming. Thursdays are usually our later ones. Yes, correct. You're not sure? That's fair. Gotta say, mad props to me. This is a great hand. Don't usually draw hands a lot. Real proud of that hand. Hands are a pain. Yeah, absolutely. Feet of the West. I think this like sky blue. Actually, I could probably just check what I did for the other ones. Where would it be? Nope, nope. There we go. Yeah, so sky blue. That's what this character is wearing. I should probably save the image while I'm here. And what we're going to call it. So we want to put it into pictures. We want to save it as a critter document. We're going to save it as imposition. There are lots of people out there who like feet. And who are we to say they're wrong? Even though lots of people would say they're wrong. It's going to end up back on that same topic of discussion again. I don't understand the feet thing. It's like you can't fathom something that you have not experienced. Like from a conceptual standpoint, you can understand it, but like without ever being able to actually experience it, it's just like, but why? And then that makes you sound like a shit. One of our closest friends really loves them? Oh. Do I need to feel differently about someone? I am joking. That was a joke. Funny joke. You don't get that? You're really good at putting yourself into people's perspectives and vividly imagining their experiences, depending on the experience. But you can't understand that one. Yeah, fair. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. I'd love to see your work so far, Cock. Chuck it where we can see it. It's in the Discord? Alright. Let me just open the Discord back up. Oh, very nice. I can see the Minecraft basis there. But that is a very nice image. I'm just gonna chuck it on the screen for all our peeps back home. There we go, that's what Cog's been working on. Which looks very cool. Digging it. Perspective is good. That works. Alright, we're coming to the end of this playlist. Almost there. Considering making the edges less harsh, now that you have the perspective like a curving hallway a little. Yeah, that may work. Depends how much you do it. I like the kind of hard square thing. I think that kind of works for dwarves. I always think of like dwarven spaces as being quite like blocky, because it's not necessarily about the aesthetic, but like whether or not it works formally. Form over aesthetic. Function over aesthetic. I'm going to go over these just to make sure that it is actually defined that these are like white wraps. The one you sent was another one you did. It has curvature. Okay. Let's have a look. Yes, I remember seeing something like this. Or this one. I'm not sure if I've seen this exact one before. Yeah, I like that. The archway thing works. Sort of curved roofing. I know I'm still kind of sold a little on the on the blocky architecture, but yeah, in the end it's yours. You design it how you think best suits. What best suits the dwarves in your world? we should keep it blocky. I'm sure they can have a bit of everything. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't need to all be exactly the same. Not at all. None whatsoever? None whatsoever! Wonder who gets that reference. What we need to do is make another layer beneath. Just pick our middle color. Just fill all of this in. Sounds like that song sounded like if someone made a ringtone and then just let it run for way too long. some shadow in. Basically just going to try and go in and put some darkened definition in like the folds of each of these cloth sections, as they are very cloth wrapped, and then put in our shadows and our highlights, and that should more or less give us like all of the detail we really need out of this image. At that point, I think we're probably done with it. As much as we're gonna be. The way I'm doing it, putting this sort of black mask shadow over the top, is going to dull the colors a lot. I don't necessarily mind that. I used more vibrant colors to begin with anyway. Like we've got a lot of like the grays and stuff in here for these robes, but like I specifically didn't use very dark or washed out tones too much, because I knew I would be coming in and darkening everything afterwards. And then like specifically on these browns and blues, I chose something that was a little bit more vibrant and light, so that I could go in and darken the sections that I needed to. But also it kind of makes things look a little bit like dusty, dirty. So I think that suits the aesthetic we're going for here. I kind of think these should be brown. I might just come in here and put like brown boot. Just darken it a bunch in the yeah, there we go. Which means that these probably have to be darkened slightly, because they're going to be getting much dirtier down here. That. Beautiful. Redeem teach you. Okay, so. Story to put in the hall of the Dwarven Hallway. Okay. In lands time past, in times past and lands past, there were a series of dwarven warriors whose whole purpose was essentially something with a moral, the way you're teaching me. Okay. Yeah, there was a group of dwarven warriors who tried very hard to keep at bay a great army, and so the story was made to sort of recognize and keep them, but the story itself goes that they held up in this old dwarven temple, and they spent many nights and many days fighting off this sort of seemingly endless wave after wave of faceless enemy that would not stop and would not be reasoned with. And they prayed to their gods, and they hoped beyond hope that help would come. But they sort of stuck in their little fortress home that they had found, in their little temple. And they made efforts to fortify here and there, but the waves kept coming, and the fortification were not enough. Max, how you doing, buddy? And over time, the fortifications were not enough. The little things that they did to sort of rally and keep each section safe and secure would just be sort of broken down each day as they tried to sort of build it back up. And they continued this for many moons, many cycles. Just playing some Skyrim. Well, perfect timing. We're in here doing D&D chats and drawing fantasy situations, fantasy fun. So the dwarves can continue to fight against this endless swarm of death, and eventually they began to succumb to the fighting, and one by one they sort of struggled and fought down until finally one of them couldn't take it and requested to the gods to send assistance. And there was silence. There was nothing came for the longest time. And so they were disheartened, and they cursed their gods. And they continued to fight on, and eventually they died, all of them. And they had written, scrawled along the walls, all the things that had been happening, and began with great valiant calls of the mighty dwarven race and how they would succeed against this endless swarm of foes. And then as the months progressed, it then came to pleading and asking for assistance from the gods, and asking for repentance for the things they'd done that weren't dwarvy enough, that meant they were in this predicament. And then from there it grew to resentment, and blasphemy and curses written along the walls, scrawled in and chiseled in. Some of it destroyed by the creatures that came through, and then finally it was just acceptance at the end. There was just we were here, the mighty dwarves who stood fast, but we fell, and there is no more. And there was a great dwarven king who lived not far from that very temple, and these traveling dwarves who had been coming to his kingdom, who had been attacked and then held up in this fortress, in this temple. He lamented such and cried such at the loss of these dwarves, because he was so close, and had such an army waiting to assist, but heard no word, and so could not. And so forevermore these specific dwarves are remembered simultaneously for their valiant fighting, for months worth of fighting, unassisted and unsupplied, and their great feat of strength in doing so. A valiant call to all dwarf kind, all dwarvenage, to be as strong and resilient and as and as resourceful as they were, and yet also a very important moral lesson to learn, which is that if you do not ask for assistance, then assistance will never come. That asking the void or asking the gods is not good enough, that you do need to ask others for assistance, and that sometimes these things require a little bit more active involvement. And when the dwarves did themselves find themselves face to face with their gods lamented, and the dwarves hung their head in shame for having blasphemed them so. And yet the gods merely said, we tried to help you, we sent a great army with a great king nearby, and you never called. So we could not help you. Just gonna tell the story of Balin? No, I was telling you a moral story. You wanted to hear a moral story. The story of the dwarves and the dwarven temple. Alright, this is coming together. You're always happy to be here. That's good. I'm glad to hear it. You are most welcome. Hope everybody is having a good time. We're going to continue working on this lovely drawing, and then we're probably going to raid out after this one, I think. The story was great. It was well worth you designing a whole artwork just for it. Part of the idea was definitely stolen from the old... it's not really a joke, it's more like a parable, a story about the man whose house is flooding. Pious man. Most of you have probably heard it before. It's a fairly common one that kicks around. But if someone hasn't, feel free to let me know, and I'll regale you all with it. You have not. Okay, well, it's similar. It's similar sort of story, but it's a like Christian God thing. So there's a man, and he sees that a great flood is coming. And so he begins, he's a pious man, he's a religious man, and so he begins praying to God to save him. And he says, God, please deliver me from this flood, please do not let a terrible thing happen to one of your devoted, to one of your worshippers today. And so he sort of stands outside of his house and watches the rains and the floods come in. And then as the rain continues to come in and flood, it starts to reach the first floor of his house, and his neighbor is starting to evacuate. And he says, "Neighbor, we're about to leave. We've packed up. It's not safe. You should probably come with. There's more than enough room in the car. Why don't you come?" And his neighbor was not a religious person. He was an atheist. And so he sort of scoffed and said, "No, my God will save me. My God will keep me from harm." And so he prayed once again in front of the atheist, just to rub it in a little. And he said, please God, don't let something terrible happen to one of your devout followers on this day. Save me, deliver me from this flood. And so then the water continues to rise, and it rises up to the first story of his house. And so he sort of clambers up and goes to the second story, and stands on his balcony. And at that point he hears someone shouting, and there is a man there who's coming across in a boat. It's one of the men from down the street, a fisherman who has this dinghy, and he says, "Quick fella, you're trapped in your house and the flood's coming. You need to get out of here. You come on my boat and I'll take you to safety. I can't bring any of your things, but you will be safe." The priest sort of looked around and holding his Bible, and he said, "No, God will save me." And so he begins to pray again. He says, "God, don't let one of your disciples, one of your holy men, one of your followers be harmed this day. Save me from this flood." And so the water continues to rise, and he starts to get a little annoyed because it's taking so long for God to deliver him and to save him. And it gets up to the second story of his house, and it's only a 2-story house, so then he climbs up into the attic and then onto the roof. He's clutching his Bible, and just at that point he sees a helicopter come overhead, and at this point he was sort of starting to doubt himself and doubt God's resolve, and so he sort of became a little bit flustered in himself, and the rescue helicopter was there, and they called out, "Quick, grab onto the rope. We can only save so many." And he said, No, you save others. I will be saved by my God. I will be delivered. This is not from the Old Testament. No, this is not an old story. There is an older version of this story, but it's not biblical. It's not in the Bible. And he says, "No, my God will save me. You go and save others." And once again he prays and says, "Deliver me, O Lord. I have lived a good life. I have lived a life with as little sin as possible. I go to church every week. I go to church multiple times a week, in fact. And if I could have, I would have become a priest. And if you do save me from this flood, if you do spare my life, I promise to devote it entirely to you, and I will become a priest. I will be celibate. I will learn the Bible in and out, and be able to quote and preach it at a moment's notice. All you need to do is save me." And so the floods continue to rise, and then the man drowns, and he reaches the pearly gates of heaven. And as he gets up there, he becomes furious and says, "God, why did you not save me? Why did you not deliver me from the flood?" And God looks to him and says, "My child, I sent you a neighbor who with a car assisted you. I then sent a man with a boat, like Jesus, a fisherman. And then I sent you a helicopter, a rescue team, and you denied all of them. That's the end of the story. And the moral of the story is, don't be a dick. Ooh, my eyes. The doors weren't locked in, they barricaded themselves in. They made measures so as to protect themselves, and by doing so, that was their undoing. The moral of the story is, you can do what you can to survive, but those coping strategies might not necessarily be healthy, and that you need to ask for outside assistance as much as you need to ask for spiritual assistance, or for, you know, like there's more than one type of assistance. There's more than one type of you know, strategy for dealing with things, and sometimes the coping strategies we use are unhealthy, and while they may, you know, get us over the line for a bit, they will eventually fail, and it is by the assistance of others, by calling out to our betters to assist, etc., etc. No, I'm not saying necessarily open the vault. I'm saying find healthy coping strategies by talking to people who know what to do when you open the vault, and that keeping a vault at all is probably not the most healthy strategy in the first place. Don't become an alcoholic. Don't, you know, hold in and vault your emotions. Also, similarly, don't just vent your emotions wildly or, you know, to anybody. That you actually need to, like, measure and work through things and find what is best for what situation. Nothing is going to be perfect every single time, and so you need to work out what is appropriate for that one situation and work on that one thing. Oh, no one caught the tentacle? Oof. Bloody tentacle. Is this the same playlist? I don't remember this being on this playlist. No, apparently it was. Okay. Don't know how I missed this one last time. It's cool though. I like it. It is very fitting for this particular artwork, I find. Alright, how's that looking? That is looking pretty good. Pretty Gucci, as the kids would say. You say Gucci, you're a kid. That's how it works. I have spoken. What if you say yeet? If you say yeet, you're probably also... Well, see, it was a kid thing that was being said for a while, but then it got accepted into, like, the social mainstream zeitgeist. Because for the longest time it wasn't. It was something that really only kids said. But now it's kind of more a universal thing. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, let's save. We're going to export it as a JPEG. There we go. Cam says your art's shit. Your art's bad and you should feel bad? That's what she said? Because if that's the case, Chaos, that's very rude. How dare. Cog's trying his best, alright? It's official. She said that Cog's bad and he should feel bad. That his artwork's bad and he should feel bad. She's a terrible person. Can't believe she would say that. Alright, so we're gonna have to put these art cards onto these art card sets, but we're probably not doing that tonight because it's been 3.5 hours. We've done a pretty good job of the stream so far. We've got 2 awesome artworks out of it. So we're gonna have a look at who we want to raid. I'm thinking Cognitive Beard. This doesn't smell bad. Is Marky Nana still doing art stuff? No, he's now playing League of Legends. Okay. Damn. I mean, we could raid Buttery Smooth again, but maybe Barrow? Yeah, it's been a little bit. Let's raid into Barrow, I think. So let's turn this music off momentarily. Thank you, everybody. We did this lovely artwork, Imposition, and we did this lovely artwork, Windmill. The Windmill. Both of which were lots of fun. I think I like Imposition a bit better. I'm not sure that it's done necessarily. There are some things that I still want to add to it, but that is good. So we had a good art stream. Next time we'll, or just when I find time to, because it's school holidays now, I'm going to do these other two artworks. And then work on putting more of these art cards in, so that we can get the merch stuff going, which will be good. I will find somewhere to put a poll, probably on the Discord, but we'll see how we go, just to see if people want the merch to have, like, the full channel's name on it, or if you want it to just be like a little, like the New World Artists or TNW or something, small somewhere, or just not at all. I think not at all is probably the better one, but we'll see how we go, because I don't know if people want to sort of show off the channel or just show off the art. My preference is towards just the art, but we'll see what, because it will be other people buying it and wearing it, what you guys think, what they think. And it can change over time. That merch stuff is still sort of up in the air. It will be coming eventually. I'm going to try and expedite that slightly over the next couple of weeks, but we'll see how that goes. So yeah, let's raid into Barra. You say that we show off the artist? Reasonable. I'm just going to post these two in here. So windmill. And then we're also going to... Well, we'll start by just posting windmill, and then we'll post the other one. Which is imposition. Nope, that's too far. There it is. Imposition. Kill. And then we're gonna raid out. So let's set up this raid. Hope everybody has had a wonderful time. The VOD will be up very shortly if it's not sort of already processing itself right now. So you can go in and watch what you missed, or if you're watching this on the VOD, thank you for watching. I do have a suggestion box in the About Me down there. Yes. Hello to Max. There's a suggestion box down below, or you can jump onto the Discord and message me anytime. My name's Captain on there, and just suggestions for things you want to see, artworks you want to see. If there's anything that you're enjoying or not enjoying, let me know, because this stuff is as much for you as it is for me. I would be doing all of this anyway, so if there's something in particular you want to see, we'll work on that. I did just recently get Tiny Tina's Wonderland for Borderlands, so we may play some of that on the stream, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, so more things incoming. Yeah, hope you've had a wonderful day. If you're subscribed to me... Oh, Jesus, he's just done a huge face. What's James doing? I wonder if we'll catch him in time. You can copy and paste if you are subscribed to me. No, he's finished now. You can copy and paste this. Otherwise, you can give your love to James. I'm watching it on the other monitor. All right. So, thank you very much. We will catch you next time. I may be streaming tomorrow. We'll see how things go. I'm not sure what it is that we'll be doing. It's supposed to be sandbox survival, so something. But depending on what everybody else is doing and what we end up streaming, I will try and stream something. So, yeah, look forward to that. Bye!